Welcome to the Wise Dome podcast, a series that is so much more than just a podcast series. This is a movement towards a lifestyle you know you deserve. It's all about the ease of inspiring and sharing your knowledge and experiences online. I'm your host, Nikki Cali, and I have always admired those who share their wisdom, those who have decided to inspire others. Just like my guests, I found my version of inspiring others by sharing my wisdom and created a lifestyle I wanted, and I'm going to share all the secrets for how you can too. On this show, you'll find inspiration, motivation, and advice from experts, as well as valuable tips on how to get started or improve your business. Let's dive into how you can begin and grow your wisdom business. Remember, inspiring others looks different for everyone. How will you inspire? Hi, I'm Nikki Cali from the Wise Dome podcast. We're all about sharing how we inspire our audiences with our own wisdom businesses, be it our memberships, courses, or coaching programs. And today we're very lucky to chat to Howard Wolpoff. Howard is a marketing coach. He is a profit acceleration strategist who works with small business owners who have been working too long and too hard and have not had their efforts translate into results. Howard's wisdom business is called Profit Master Business Solutions. And welcome to the Wise Dome podcast series.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
So let's get a start on how you got started and how you became a marketing coach, or the marketing coach that you are today.
Sure. Well, I've been involved in marketing for over 25 years, and I was initially in sports marketing here in the United States, working with the minor league baseball team, working with the National Basketball Association, National Hockey League in different ways, and always loved marketing. And that led me into local and national radio, and then running accounts for 2 different marketing advertising agencies. The last one I was with, which is located here in Jacksonville, Florida, we were working on, we had a really amazing lead generating process where we'd bring different types of companies in to be interviewed on our own little TV network that was online. And then we talked to them about marketing opportunities. The small businesses could not afford the buy-in for the process. There was a assessment that our CEO wanted to run prior to engaging them in a full contract, but they couldn't take part in that. So when there was some changes made with the agency, if it was a good opportunity for me to jump out and work with these small business owners, there really was a need for them to market themselves and not be handcuffed in different directions, because sometimes their budgets are not structured the way they need to be flexible. Just put down $2,000, $3,000 on something. There needs to be some focus that goes along with it. This was the right opportunity for me to be able to work with them individually.
You basically, obviously, you saw that pain that small businesses go through with the restrictions when it comes to their little bank accounts when you're first starting out, and you're sort of thinking, how do I reach out there and get the brand out there? So that's fantastic. You saw that and actually began your business. Is that literally where it started, or is there sort of an area that a moment where you, obviously beside the fact where you saw your CEO just asking for all these, areas to tick off to actually advertise, did you find there was a moment where you just thought, no, it's just not fair? Or was it you had people coming to you asking you for advice, you started giving out the advice? What was your process to actually really dive in there? That's what I want.
Well, I had been working with small business owners in different ways throughout my career. So I knew that they had needs. I knew that they had concerns different than those medium and large scale businesses that can just go in and create a contract with a marketing or advertising agency. Whether it was within my work in sports and getting their exposure in the ballpark. I used to work in baseball in specific, whether it was on radio, trying to come up with the right campaign. So I knew that what their needs were. So when I kept seeing this over and over again, where they needed help, wanted help, but couldn't afford to buy in, I knew that this was something. So it took a little while to finally make that step, but there was really some real understanding of at that point locally of what these small business owners address, because thanks to COVID, which you hate to do, I now do things all over the country, all over the world because of Zoom and other opportunities to speak to people just on a screen.
Yeah. With respect to your own wisdom business, so starting your wisdom business, were there any particular steps that you took to actually start your own wisdom business?
Well, I think there's a few things that were important. One was really getting down the concepts that I wanted to share and teach.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very important because you can just say, oh yeah, I'm a consultant, I'm a small business owner. And that's a great little title you can give to yourself, but it actually has to be something you do and a process that you fulfill in doing so. So once I was able to get that set, then it's the other pieces that go along with it. Making sure you have the right website, making sure there's a social media campaign, really understanding what people are looking for, because when people are on a journey for something, they have a need, is really to answer two questions in their head. There's a problem they have they don't want, and a result they want they don't have. And if you're able to fulfill that, then they have an interest in communicating with you and potentially becoming a prospect and then a client. Right. So it's building those pieces and making yourself visible and available to them to make yourself stand out in the process. It's really having a market dominating position that makes you really stand out and the expert that they want to consider doing business with. And then is the process of closing a sale and moving forward with the client.
Yeah. There's that coach coming out. So that process in when you were setting up your own business, it's all about really getting that message out there, isn't it? On the different platforms and avenues that you can, obviously, through social media and so forth, and building up that trust in who you are. Because like you said, you can give yourself a title, but you've got to back it up, don't you? So
it's hard to look at yourself as a successful business owner and to be looked at when you're just starting, because, for example, you have 0 reviews on Google at that point.
Correct.
Yeah. There's nothing to really base everything on. However, if you take full advantage of something like LinkedIn, and you really nurture the relationships you have at different stages of your career, you can then go back and ask people for recommendations on LinkedIn specifically to those jobs that you've had and stops along the way. Yeah. And you can accumulate. I have 20, 30 different reviews at different levels of my career, which was helpful in starting everything off because, one, I can refer people there, and two, I had pieces that I can kind of cut and paste into some of my own self-promotion that someone spoke about my skill set and how successful I was in doing something with them in the previous experience. And because I also worked with agency life for about 3-4 years at that point, there was a lot of transferable information that I can say I created social media campaigns and a branding campaign, and this translates to some of the things I'm doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a perseverance, isn't it? Just don't procrastinate and think that, oh, look, I don't have anything online, or I don't have all those reviews. Just like you said, there are many ways of actually representing yourself and your experience. And
you can easily just do the work with a couple of people for free.
Yeah.
In trade for those reviews, and they're your first reviews on Google. Those are first reviews on your website.
Yeah. And that's good advice, because that is, a lot of people don't realize that they can actually do that. It's a good way to start. And look, we all do it. I'd love to ask, was there any particular moment that you were inspired within your own business when you were inspiring someone else in your business to go down a path? Do you have recollection of your first moment of going, I'm actually doing this? I'm helping someone.
I was able to get a client out of the gate because of some other work I had done. One of my most successful radio clients helped give me a referral to someone, and I created a branding campaign for them. Wow. So the whole process of going through and creating logo and creating the scripts for how they're going to present themselves and building their website in the process as well, and really doing a lot more. There was a lot of heavy lifting that they, in name, were business owner, but they really didn't understand how to build a business. And putting all those pieces together, it definitely helped in the process just to reassure that I knew what I was doing. Although I'd built different types of campaigns in the agency world before. So I knew it was all going to play out, but that really was the first experience, and really was with the type of company that I really had never worked with before. So even more so, it was reassuring. But as part of my experiences during COVID and a lot of networking I was doing, I actually ran a masterclass once a month for a national and somewhat international networking organization. Nice. So being able to present to people all over the country and over the world different thoughts and ideas, and then running question and answer sessions at some of them, just to get a sense of. I used to, one was called "My Business is Broken" was the title of the masterclass. People would just ask questions. I said, "Okay, give me your website. Let's take a look. Okay, here's the problem right here with your website," and then started rattling things off and moving on to the other person. It really helped me feel that I really was. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I am an expert.
Yeah. There's that imposter syndrome, isn't it? That when you're first starting a wisdom business, like you said, if you don't really have all that, the reviews out there and so forth, some people will feel like they're an imposter with what they're doing, but they don't realize they really do have the experience and they can help other people. And summarizing, yes, you can actually go down the point of actually offering it for free and like you did, offering masterclasses. It's really good and it's inspiring for yourself. It gives you that extra drive to keep moving forward. But I'd love to ask, to go from being the marketing coach where you wanted to start off to being the marketing coach you are today, what took you to that point of being able to provide masterclasses online and actually get into networking?
I would say pretty much yes with that situation where it was everything kind of went crazy in March of 2020 and late April, some point in May, I saw an ad post in a Facebook group. Here's this networking event for people in Florida online. So I said, okay, I already was familiar with Zoom. So I started going. And then from there, within a few weeks, there was an opportunity to become a co-host. So I volunteered to be a co-host so I can then be a leader and stand out. And then they promoted me to being a co-host captain. So I actually started supervising 4 other groups around the country come in and let the co-host run the show, but be a part of the process and help train them to drive more people into the event. And with that, there was an opportunity for me to be a teacher of a masterclass.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Got to step up and volunteer sometimes. And that's
yes, you do. You got to put your hand up. You can't hide in the shadows. The lessons that you may have learned along the way, was there any particular major lesson that you may have learned in how you share your wisdom with people?
I think that you need to, refresh what you're doing at times and really look in the mirror and make sure that you are comfortable with exactly what you're saying. So again, we had a quick conversation about elevator pitches before we started, and you have to make sure you have the right elevator pitch at all times. And sometimes that elevator pitch changes when you've accomplished certain things and you're adding more to what you're doing. So for me, the biggest thing was really streamlining the elevator pitch to really translate into part of what my market dominating position is and was at the time, and really just reinforcing that and trying to find the right prospects and right audience to share that with so that they can end up becoming clients and being able to help them. It's great to have a knockout elevator pitch, but if you're not pitching it to the right people, it really you're just spinning your wheels a little bit. And it goes back to, there's a problem that people have, they don't want, a result they want, they don't have. So if the person I'm speaking to really needs a plumber, and I'm talking about them being a business coach, that's not going to do them any good.
So that leads me to the next question then, which a lot of people have this concern about, I would guess. Finding an audience, finding the right people to talk to. How did you go about doing that?
Some is trial and error. Actually, all of it's trial and error, but you have to figure out exactly what the right ones are and move away from the errors as quickly as possible. Yep. And sometimes you do something so well and you don't even notice it, and you have to kind of, again, look at things. I've been successful with some of the books that I've put out there. I have another book that I was writing, and initially when I started coaching, I set up a Facebook group, and I did it because of a podcast that I did. And the point of the podcast in general was for me to build my email list. And I spent 2 months interviewing and reaching out and interviewing marketing experts from around the world and really asking them a 1-question podcast. And sometimes it was 10 minutes and sometimes it was 30 minutes, because the conversations that led to and after the question is really what is your niche and what are you doing for yourself and your clients within that. I put it out as video. I did it on Zoom, put it out as video, and launched it on March 1st of 2020. So by the middle of March, when COVID started shutting everything down, the podcast at that, my videos. So I finished it through anyway, and then eventually putting it out there as just audio podcasts.
Yes.
But the group kind of just sat there and didn't do much with it.
Right.
And then I reframed it because I'm writing this book I'm called Small Business Owner 101, the class that's not taught in college because they don't teach you how to be a small business owner. They teach you how to be an employee.
Yes.
And I changed that and changed the format. I did a little more with it, but kind of left it. And then about 4 or 5 months ago, I go take a look. I have 4,000 people in this group because the name really captured their attention. Wow. So now I have this audience that I started to do different things with, and it's starting to work very well with my prospecting and my time spent on Facebook.
Right. So just that interaction. So you've gone back into that group and you're interacting with them, asking them questions and so forth, finding out why they were interested. So the point of when you actually felt, I guess, growing in your business and reaching that point of not feeling like you are an imposter. Was there a moment that you actually, obviously we've discussed that moment where you've inspired someone and you know that you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing, but was there an area or is there something that you've realized that you've actually personally grown yourself with respect to what you're offering to people, how you might have changed, how you're sharing your wisdom, how you've grown in that sense personally as someone who shares wisdom?
I definitely have more of a confidence about myself. And that's really grown over the last couple of years. I've had experiences before this where I was a host of when we brought in the prospects for the agency, we had them on this TV network called Buzz TV. Initially, I had no role, and then I was a producer just getting people onto the show. And then a host didn't show up, and they said, go get behind the camera. And lo and behold, I did 125 segments over the course of a year plus as the host of my own 5 Minutes With segment. And that gave me a lot of confidence going into podcasting, going into public speaking. Yeah. Now I got invited back. They reformatted it really for our clients' purposes. Mm-hmm. And now there's a whole different website called dailyadbrief.com. And I'm the host of Marketing Champions. And in a few months, we counted up. I already done 150 segments interviewing the CEOs and owners and presidents of marketing and advertising agencies. So I'm speaking to these people rapid fire. I can do 10 interviews on a Monday morning, but I'm speaking to them on a regular basis and connecting with them on LinkedIn, and people reach out to me for different questions. And so I feel a lot more confident today than I did 2.5 years ago. Yeah. And I'm putting myself into situations to give myself even more confidence in being a guest on a podcast and being a part of a teaching series, a 2-day special lecture series that people pay prices for. And it's really just kind of seeing what opportunities fall in front of you and taking advantage of them.
That's great. And challenging, obviously that's what it comes down to, doesn't it?
Sure.
Just challenging yourself and getting out there and really pushing those boundaries. So that's something that I think we all need to learn, that we can't just sit in our comfort zones. You just sit there, you're not going to grow, and neither will your business.
I think that was a lot of what people learned on going on to Zoom and these breakout rooms. And you go to a networking event, you can easily sit in the corner and not talk to anybody and then lament all the parking that you had to pay and the gas you spent to drive back there and the time you took, and I didn't get anything out of it. Yeah. But on a Zoom meeting, you have to speak. You're put in a room with people, you're given your 2 minutes, and here you go. So gave a lot more people an opportunity to start to get out of their box because they're thrust into something and they have to take advantage of it. And I think it taught people more how to take advantage of those situations, especially those that I spent a lot of time redoing their elevator pitches so they can succeed at these types of events.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think I mentioned to you before we started recording this, I'm a founder of a tech company and I've been working with pitching and so forth. And I was scared to do an elevator pitch. I was petrified to get onto it, even onto a Zoom call, like just, to have an elevator night, like a pitch night. And one thing that I learned, and it was a turning point for me in particular with just opening up and having a voice, was just to get on that Zoom meeting, get in that room with everybody, But what made it more easier for me was obviously I was in my own environment. So I was quite comfortable. I knew where I was and I was just on a screen. And, they could only just see this area of me. That's it, my face, and that was it. And it was a lot easier to talk when, you feel like I'm comfortable, I'm in my space. So just getting out there and challenging yourself is amazing, because I did it and it was my first pitch and I actually won for that evening, and I've won another one since then. And it's been an amazing experience because it has taught me that, yes, just challenge, just get there, just take that step, click accept invitation, go to that class, go to that session, go to that meeting, whatever it is, or even just begin a chat with someone in your Facebook group and get the conversation started. And it's amazing where it can evolve. And practice makes perfect, doesn't it? So the more you get out there, the easier it is for you to actually just evolve. And as you evolve, your business will evolve too, because when people see a confident person behind that screen, it just makes it a lot easier. But confidence has to come from somewhere, and it comes from experience and practice and so forth. So it's okay if you make mistakes. We all do.
You're in your comfort zone here on the screen because look, everyone dresses for success in different ways on Zoom. We had experience, I had recordings for my segment today, and the woman was having issues with her microphone. So she went to go get a second microphone, and she looks like she's wearing this really nice business outfit, and we saw her sweatpants as she ran off to get the microphone. I look at my producer, he looks at me, I just look straight back at the camera. She comes back, and I'm going.
Well, I saw a post actually on LinkedIn just a couple of days ago, and it was a CEO had actually requested all his workers to come into the office, but dressed as they would normally dress on their Zoom meetings when they were in lockdown. And the photo was amazing of some of the employees all together, the little slippers or their runners and shorts and thongs or whatever. And they had their suits, the shirts on top. It was actually gorgeous. I love that photo. And it's just, transparency is there. When other people see in experts and they see that, that expert came from somewhere, he had to evolve from somewhere, it just makes it a little bit easier to reach those goals, because you can feel like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. So it's great to see.
Exactly.
Is there any sort of advice that you would, one sort of 10-word advice or sentence that you might have for anyone who is starting or looking to start a wisdom sharing business?
I think you need to have confidence in what you know and have an understanding what you don't know. And it's helpful to ask questions. It shouldn't be an embarrassing thing to ask questions, because if you're going to be in a knowledge-based business, you're going to want to teach people. You need to make sure have much information as possible to do that. You want to be a sponge in soaking up anything you can, so you can then find the best practices and the best of what you learned, so you can then implement it into what you're doing.
And it's okay not to have the answers too, isn't it, sometimes?
Depending on the situation, yes.
Depending.
But it's okay to look up the answers. Some say, let me do a little more research and get back to you, as long as you are following up and getting back to that person.
That's great advice.
Or back to yourself, too, sometimes too.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice, because some people do worry about that process, don't they? They think, oh, what if I don't have the answer? What do I do? So no, that's good advice. You're best known for your openness and, your willingness to help small business owners, through all the different avenues, like all the different medium that you've used, such as your books and your courses, your masterclasses, your free ask a question here and I'll answer for you. Why do you think people resonate with your approach?
I think that people are searching for knowledge. And if you're going to find someone who's going to share it with you, and it's comfortable just giving certain parts of it away, you take full advantage of it. I belong to a one Friday a week masterclass as well. I don't recall how I got into it, but he's giving away information every single time. He's giving away more than that. I answered that at the end of each session, if you come back and said, during this month, I took your advice on X from the month before, and I did this. He asked people who did that, and then they kind of give a vote of who did the best, and you win. So I won twice, where I was given a free choice between a trip to Orlando, which is 2 hours away from me, or Las Vegas. And because of certain reasons, I had not called to follow up, and then I won again. So he's now up that. So he's connected with some hotel chain, and I'm getting a 5-day trip to anywhere around the world that the hotel covers.
Amazing.
So it's because he gives information away for free, and I'm smart enough to participate. So the same way, I'm excited about those who've taken advantage of learning with me in the process.
So a side question I like to ask my guests, what legacy are you looking to leave, personal or business?
I think that someone who listens, who loves to learn, who loves to teach and see the growth that I can provide for others. It goes back to many different things in my career. I had some really great experiences. I've helped launch 3 different businesses and have a real effect on how those businesses evolved and with 2 in particular still evolving.
Yep.
And that means something to me. One of my favorite movies, and it doesn't have to be in a certain season of the year, is It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
So I don't look at it as a Christmas movie. I look at it as a lesson in the value that you bring to the world. So when George Bailey takes himself out of the equation through the help of the angel in these situations, you see how everything has changed because of what he wasn't there to provide.
Yep.
And I look at things in my past and say, if not for me, this wouldn't have happened. And so it helps me take pride in the work that I've done and how I connect with others and how the bigger picture was brighter because I was a part of it.
I like that. It's nice. Well, it's been wonderful talking to you. Now, we like to showcase an offer when we have our guests on our podcast. So do you have a particular offer you'd like to share with our audience today?
Sure. I have a course that I provided to my clients as part of the process we go through. Yep. And really what it is the backbone of small business marketing. And after you've taken the full course, you really are an expert in small business marketing. So I set up a site called collegedidn'tteachyou.com because college didn't teach you how to be a small business owner. It unfortunately taught you how to be an employee. Yeah. And it goes into what is involved with the course. And I've really addressed the prices to be reasonable for small business owners who are starting out, because my clients can spend some sizable figures that I know not everyone can afford, which is why I provide this, because I really want to give people the kickstart in getting themselves started. And if you sign up over the course of February, then I actually will schedule an onboarding session with you, which really starts to map out what you need to accomplish in your business and a checklist of things that need to happen. And then you start learning the different pieces while you're taking this course. It's 52 weeks. So every week you're getting an email with either the watching on video or audio with the workbook that comes along with it, opportunities for group calls with the coaching organization I'm involved with. So people from all over are on these calls. And it really is. And there's also a full library. It's about $1 million library of examples from like letters and emails and different scripts and copy of print ads that you can take and just change your name so it works for you in your industry, and things are broken down by industry. It really is quite an amazing tool for small business owner.
Yeah. Awesome. Howard, you've been fabulous. The details to all your offer and everything like that will be in our podcast summary below, and be sure to click on the link and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again, Howard. And if there's anything that you need help with when it comes to marketing, especially small business, be sure to check out Howard's website. It has a wealth of information there, even on the free side of downloads and so forth. So do check it out. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for listening to the Wise Dome podcast. If you enjoyed and have been inspired by this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, do subscribe and please share it with others. Post about us on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, Nikki Cali, you can follow me on Instagram at Wise Dome Podcast, WISEDOME podcast. I'm Nikki Cali. Thanks again, and we'll catch up next time.